Okay, so XRP's fair value is $66.67. Right now, it's 2025. XRP trades for about $2 in the $2 range right now. And I believe that this cryptocurrency is going to inevitably, and this is my argument, that it inevitably will hit $66.67. Where it will go beyond that, I'm not sure. But obviously, we need to take steps towards, different price targets. I keep hearing XRP is going to be worth $10,000. I don't know. I hope so. But I can show you mathematically how we get to $66. So first of all, who am I? My name is Alexander Velasquez. I write for an investment analysis platform called Seeking Alpha, where I write analysis on cryptocurrencies, stocks, and one of my recent articles that I published about 2 weeks ago was on XRP. And I said that XRP, and I showed it mathematically, that XRP is worth $66.67. And, people were citing it like, is this guy right? Because that's a 2,600% increase from XRP's current price range. That could be potentially life-changing money. That could make millionaires and billionaires. So, am I right? And I want to show you today that I believe that I am. And I believe that XRP is going to be what I believe is going to be a life-changing investment for many people. And I hope that you're one of these people who decides to, buy XRP and hold to at least 2027, 2028, and reap your rewards then. But let me first of all slow down a bit and let me explain to you. A lot of people might not even know what XRP is. So XRP is essentially a bridge currency. So right now, first of all, XRP is a cryptocurrency that solves a real problem, right? You often hear, oh, cryptocurrencies have no value. No, that's a bunch of nonsense. Okay, XRP, I'm just talking about XRP. I'm not going to defend every single cryptocurrency, but XRP has it solves a real problem. Okay, so the problem that XRP solves is international money transfers. So right now, if you want to transfer money from, say, one country to another, it's what we call cross-border flows. If you want to transfer money from one country to another, suppose I want to transfer money from the United States to Honduras, right? The Honduran currency is the lempira, and I want to transfer money from the US to Honduras, I have to use the SWIFT system. Now, the SWIFT system can take about 1 to 5 business days on average, maybe 3 to 5 business days. It's slow, it's costly. It might take around 5 to 8% of whatever amount I'm transferring, right? Especially if it's a large amount, 8% can be a lot of money. So it's liable to hacks, right? There were hacks on the system in 2015, 2016. A lot of money was taken. It slowed down the network. That's trillions of dollars, right? And banks rely on that. So what XRP does is it serves as a bridge currency, meaning this: whenever a bank now, let's say Santander, wants to transfer money from one country to another, instead of using SWIFT, it uses XRP. So the currency, again, let's going back to my example. Suppose we use the US dollar. The US dollar, if we use the XRP system, will be converted into XRP, thereby increasing volume, right, on the XRPL ledger or the XRP ledger. It'll increase the volume because XRP is required to transfer the money. So the US dollar is converted into XRP, and then the XRP is then converted to the Honduran lempira. All this happens at a fraction of the cost, okay, at a fraction of the cost, and in 3 to 5 seconds. You don't have to wait 3 to 5 business days anymore. You don't have to take fees from ranging from 5 to 8%. And the thing is, a lot of people don't realize this. Bank contracts act as catalysts. There haven't been enough bank contracts yet. I think XRP is still vastly undervalued. But let me not get too ahead of myself. So you have this very useful cryptocurrency that now is able to convert money at a faster pace or at a faster speed than the SWIFT currency ever can, and at a fraction of the cost. So you might think, oh, why not use Bitcoin? Bitcoin's too slow. It's not built for that. Why not use Ethereum? Ethereum is an L1 programmable layer of blockchain that, and I'm being, super basic with this information, but obviously Ethereum's not built for that. Why not Solana? Solana's faster. Yeah, but the problem with Solana is that there's too many network outages. It's had a bad history with network outages, right? You don't want to, if you're a bank, you don't want to rely on an unstable network to transfer all your money. Why not Stellar? Well, Stellar is built for person-to-person transactions. The best cryptocurrency for international bank transfers is XRP. That's what it was designed for. That is its use value. It solves a real-world problem, and it does it better than the current system. That's why I compare XRP to Visa. Why? Because Visa was essentially that. It was solving a real-world problem that is now massively used. I personally believe this. Okay, I believe that XRP is the next Visa. I believe it's in the future. We're going to be talking about MasterCard, Visa, and XRP. Now, I know that sounds crazy, and maybe I'm getting a little too ahead of myself, but that's the way I see it. Let's talk about how we get to $66. So first of all, XRP has a supply cap. There were 100 billion XRP created in 2012. Okay, 100 billion. This number is deflationary. What does that mean? It means that, first of all, no more XRP can be created. So Ripple Labs does not have the code to create more XRP. Okay, so it's impossible to create more XRP than 100 billion. And what I mean by it's deflationary is every time there is a transaction on using XRP, a little bit of XRP is burned and it's permanently removed from the XRPL ledger. It's just gone. You can't get it back. And I believe the burn rate is something like 0.00002 or something like that. I don't know the exact burn rate, but I know I'm close. It's like 0.0000001 to 0.00002. But what I'm trying to say is every single time there's a transaction on the network, a little bit of XRP is permanently removed from the system. So over time, the more volume, the more transactions there are in terms of volume, the less XRP we're going to have going into the future, which makes it deflationary, which also makes it more scarce, which is going to obviously increase intrinsic value. Well, I don't want to say intrinsic value because we're not doing a discounted cash flow, but we're talking about fair value. Let's just call it a fair value. Okay, so how do I get to $66? So Brad Garlinghouse, who is the CEO for Ripple, he said that XRP could capture 14% of Swift's volume by 2030. That's equivalent to 40 trillion in terms of transaction volume. Right now, I believe as of Q2, so my info is a bit outdated, but I believe as of Q2, Ripple reported XRP's transaction volume to be somewhere around 5 trillion. Okay, so we're projecting now 40 trillion if Garlinghouse's assessment is correct. Now we're going to divide this number by the amount of by the velocity of XRP, meaning how many times each XRP is going to be used per year. And the number that I use is 6, which is a reasonable number. I don't want to get too technical with the numbers. I don't want to bore you with the math, but let's just use a velocity of 6. Then we need to figure out the supply. Okay, right now, XRP has a circulating supply of about 60 billion. Okay, so about 60 billion out of the 100 billion that XRP's total supply cap is being circulated. But I assume in my projections that it's going to be about 75 billion by 2030. Okay, so we're upping the amount of supply that's circulating because obviously if they're going to have a greater market share, more people or more banks are going to be using XRP, therefore there's going to be more supply. So when you divide by that number, by the supply, which is 75 billion, we then have to apply a discount rate to that result. And the discount rate obviously takes into consideration, potential slowdowns, the amount of time that our prediction doesn't materialize, etc. And when you apply that discount rate, you get $66.67. Now, again, I'm not going to bore you with the math, but if you want to really get into it, I have, again, the article that you can read, and it's going to be linked to the description. Okay, so what I want to do is I just want to end with this. Before Visa was Visa, it was just another way to process payments. And then the world caught up, and then there was mass adoption. And I believe that XRP is exactly that. We're right now, if you're watching this video in 2025, XRP is trading for $2. You could get one XRP for $2. I mean, this is one of the most, listen, I spend most of my days going through financial documents, trying to find undervalued companies, undervalued assets, digital assets, cryptocurrencies. XRP is it, yo. I haven't found anything like XRP. It's quite shocking to see its price so low. Do yourself a favor, do your own due diligence. But if you buy XRP, please do not buy and then sell because the price goes down tomorrow, or sell because the price goes down in December, right? Right now it's November 2025. Goes down in December. Oh, now you panic sell. No, forget that. Listen, buy XRP. Do not sell. Don't even look at your brokerage, whatever, Robinhood or Kraken, whatever you use to invest. Don't even look at your account. Just throw whatever you can, buy some XRP, try to get as much as you can. By 2027, 2028, come back to this video, give it a like, give me a thank you in the comments section, but you'll see XRP is going to take off. And don't be surprised if by 2027, this thing is already at $50, $60. It could happen. It could happen sooner. I'm just giving my best approximation as to when I think it's going to happen. I think 2030 is a reasonable date. But again, do your own due diligence. Good luck, and God bless.